Pro Bowl safety Jamal Adams has officially signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. This happened on the first day of training camp for the Raiders, where the veterans have reported. The rookies reported previously a few days ago, but Pete Carroll did his press conference today to start training camp and start the official season for the 2025 Raiders. And I had to go live to talk to you guys to see what the hell is going on here, because he didn't mention this at all in the press conference. We're going to show a little bit of that press conference in a little bit and talk a little bit about Jamal Adams and what he could mean for this Raiders team and some other little storylines to look at for the Raiders in general. But Pete Carroll did not mention this at all in his press conference. Obviously, you want to keep things, under a lid. You don't want to let everybody know what's happening with you. But I think this is a move that really has a chance to have a super high ceiling. Jamal Adams claims he's the healthiest he's been in years. And we often forget, in my opinion, how talented this guy really was. We forget the fact that the Jets in 2017 selected Jamal Adams with the 6th pick in the draft, the 6th pick in the NFL draft. That's what the New York Jets did. And then eventually, after a few years in 2020, Jamal Adams was eventually traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll obviously wanted this guy to be part of their defense. And luckily for Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, he was able to be healthy for at least 2 years. And he was a top safety, multiple Pro Bowls. And when the Seahawks did trade for Jamal Adams, it was for 2 first-round picks. This guy was worth 2 first-round picks. So not only was he a top 10 pick by the Jets in 2017, 2020 still considered that valuable on the market, that 2 first-round picks. So Pete Carroll obviously really believes in the guy. Unfortunately, he dealt with injuries throughout his time with the Seahawks. He was released prior to the 2024 season by the Seahawks and bounced around, was picked up by the Titans for last season, played in 3 games, but dealt with more injuries. Pretty much since 2023, the guy has been injury-riddled, and even was on the practice squad with the Detroit Lions for a little bit. But the dude used to be able to make plays. It seems like health is what's been holding him back. He's a true box safety. Remember this moment when he just freaking, as a Jet, took the ball out of the hands of Daniel Jones here, which, I mean, it's Daniel Jones. I know it's Daniel Jones, but pretty freaking crazy. Rips the ball out, and he scores. He obviously scores right there, Jamal Adams. Guy used to be a big-time talent. This is when he was on a trash team. So this is when he was on the Jets when they were struggling, when they had Sam Darnold, 2019. He was also a part of that Jets team that destroyed the Raiders in 2019 when the Raiders were 6-4, completely demolished their season there. But one thing that's really funny that Jamal Adams was a little known for recently, this is in 2023, he called, so watch out reporters. I'm saying watch out to all the reporters out there, because Jamal Adams, he was not afraid to rip into some of these reporters and even rip into their ladies. So you got to watch out on the Jamal Adams criticism. Remember in 2023, he got into it with Ferguson on the Cowboys. And this is why I like this guy. I mean, he's obviously way more accomplished than somebody like Jonathan Abram, who was drafted by the Raiders in 2019. But this guy, in my opinion, is what the Raiders were hoping somebody like Jonathan Abram aspires to be. Really tough box nose safety who makes plays and isn't as big of a liability in coverage. I mean, coverage isn't his strong suit as being more of a traditional box safety. Same thing with a lot of box safeties, right? But Jamal Adams really was the full package for a while, and he is not afraid to get in your freaking face. And that is something that the Raiders, I think, need on the defensive side of football. You need that attitude guy, especially since you're dealing with all this turnover and shift in different personnel and coaches. But this was so funny. So this Cowboys reporter shared a highlight of him being beaten for a touchdown. And then Jamal Adams just tweeted a picture of this reporter and his wife and put yikes. So, I mean, I think that's a little too far. You don't want to go after people's family. You don't want to have to go after the wives and whatnot. But it just shows Connor Hughes. And I believe this is actually a Jets reporter who posted this highlight. Maybe a Giants, actually, Giants and Jets. Not afraid to talk some trash there. So seeing what you guys are saying here, I want to get your guys' reaction to this move. We're going to talk a little bit more about Jamal Adams as well and some other moves the Raiders have made. So it hasn't been just Jamal Adams who was signed. The Raiders also signed JT Woods, corner. This guy also plays safety at times. He's floated around on I believe the New Orleans Saints, kind of a special teams guy, unless I'm thinking of a different JT Woods. I am thinking of a different JT Woods. So this guy also spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks, drafted in 2022. Third round pick. So somebody that Pete Carroll obviously liked if he was probably having an influence on the draft there. And doesn't seem like he's really ever gotten much playing time. JT Woods spent some time with the drafted by the Chargers in 2022. Spent 2 years there. Not much over the past few years. So I was thinking of a different JT Woods. I was thinking of a different one. Oh, well. Anyways, the Raiders signed him as well at corner. They got a lot of young guys at corner. Pete Carroll was speaking positively about the young players at the press conference today, his first press conference. And even saying that he's started a lot of corners and a lot of rookies and they better be ready. Speaking about the rookies in general. Real quick, though, while we're on Jamal Adams, this was another viral incident. I forgot about this one at first, where in 2023, and this is really his last full season, he got evaluated for a concussion. He felt like he shouldn't have been ruled out for the game, and he got into it and started getting vocal against these independent neurologists and whatnot, and then had to issue an apology after watching the replay when he was getting irate and becoming angry about the fact that he wasn't allowed back in the game. So that just shows a guy who's passionate about wanting to play, even though that might not be the healthiest thing to do, to force yourself back into a game under those circumstances. But let's check out Pete Carroll. This is about the expectations for this year. And that is the key reason why I like this move for Jamal Adams. You know, people can speculate on whether it's going to be a good move, bad move, whatever. People could say he's washed, he's old, he hasn't put together a healthy season in a while. But what does this move mean? To me, what this move means, to me, it shows you got a team that could easily just go into this season and say, you know what? Why should we have high expectations? Why should we start adding veteran talent? Why don't we just play young guys, let those people get better, and just deal with having a bad season? This team could go in that direction, but instead, even though I don't think the cost for somebody like Jamal Adams is a lot of money, they are instead saying, hey, we're going to keep signing veterans, even if it makes the team just that much better, even if it's going to take away reps from a young guy, because they apparently have high expectations for this season and think there's a chance that they could win 10 games. At least that's the strategy, because otherwise, why would you sign somebody like Jamal Adams? The Raiders already have Isaiah Polamau as their starting free safety. They have Jeremy Chin as well starting at strong safety. Perhaps they want to slide Jeremy Chin in the slot and then bring in, Jamal Adams when they're in the nickel formation as the safety in the backfield. I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's primarily going to play in the box, but that could be something they do. But instead, they're signing these veterans who are going to take away reps from young people just because it could actually lead to more wins. Doesn't seem like it's a rebuild year, especially after these comments from Pete Carroll here.
By the way, as a team here, what do you think would constitute success for you guys this season?
Oh, we gotta win a ton. We're gonna win a bunch of games.
All right, this one's too quiet. We're gonna find the real clip, because that was too quiet. Right, everybody? We're gonna find a real clip. That was way too quiet. But don't worry, we'll find it. And I do expect this guy to make the 53-man roster. I think injuries are the only thing that could set him back. If the dude's healthy, he's going to be better than any of the backup safeties the Raiders have. He might even be better than some of the starters if he's in the positions where he's excelled. If he's in the box or in at linebacker, that's where he's excelled, closer to line of scrimmage. He's gonna be maybe even better than Jeremy Chin, maybe even better than what Isaiah Polamau would be doing in that situation. So I think this guy's gonna be on the team, which I think is pretty huge. All right, let me
It's still.
let me pick up this Pete Carroll thing we saw earlier. And that's another good point. Rebecca Diamond in the chat. Pete Carroll, yeah, I'm not coming out of retirement. I know he probably wants the money because look, the money's a part of it. Obviously, he's getting paid well, probably over $10 million a year, at least, since that's the standard for a lot of good head coaches these days. But if I'm coming out of retirement at age 73 years old, yeah, I'm not trying to rebuild. I'm not trying to barely win. I'm not trying to just get this franchise back on track and yada yada yada. Yeah, I'm actually trying to win as many games as possible, build that legacy, build that record that won't be beaten when it comes to all-time wins of head coaches. So, yeah, if I'm Pete Carroll, even if the organization wants to rebuild, maybe doesn't want to take big swings at players, I'm still going to be swinging at players, trying to find diamonds in the rough like Jamal Adams, even if it takes away reps from the rookies
in this role.
Well, I don't know how clearly I've stated it to you, but last year was really valuable.
All right, so that's
past. Been playing freshmen and rookies for.
Oh, okay, there we go. So all right, here we go. And kind of conflicting messages here, but that's what you got to do, and not necessarily direct conflict or contradiction here. Pete Carroll is talking about young players in this clip I'm about to play right now, but then he's signing older players. Now, the age of Jamal Adams, just so we could remember right off the top, 29. For safety, not too crazy. I mean, think about it. Jeremy Chin, he's about 29, right? Maybe 28, 27. Okay, 27. A little younger, couple years younger, just 2. Not incredibly old, though. I actually thought he was going to be older just because he's been around for a while.
For a long time. And it's sure
quickly and be able to contribute.
We're going to have to wait and see. I could be really optimistic and say, hey, it's sure it's going to be great. But they got to get through the hitting and the rigors of camp and playing against guys that are older and bigger and stronger than they've been, in the past. However, I've always been in favor of playing young guys. I've been playing freshmen and rookies for a long time, and I believe if you do it well and you plot out and plan how you play them and what you expect them to to be asked to do, then if you do it well, then they can contribute early and they can contribute by midseason. You have guys that have been playing the game, and now you have your depth chart has changed. Your opportunity to rest guys and mix your rotations can get accelerated. I'm not afraid to play the young guys, and I really documented that a long time ago. And so they're on. They better be ready. They got to go. We're putting them in there.
Coach, you had 14 training camps as head coach in Seattle, but what stands out about the first one?
So, right. He's down to play young players, but at the same time, they're signing some older guys, which may be a conflict there. I mean, they're young in the secondary, mainly young at corners, so seems like they're going to have some veteran experience at safety, but then be really young at corner. I mean, it's really young. You're talking about Darian Porter, a rookie. You're talking about Eric Stokes from the Green Bay Packers, who really hasn't started that many games. Very athletic guy. I've always liked the guy, but really hasn't started that many games. And then you got Jacorian Bennett, who was just a rookie last year and then unfortunately had to deal with injuries. So super young at corner. When you're taking a look at it, let's see if we can go a little... Super young at corner here, but now we got some veteran presence here at safety. Even pull him out, 2022, so he's already been here. This is his third year in the NFL. Wow, time flies. Roberts and Pratt. I do like the addition of Jermaine Pratt. I was worried about linebacker, but now you got Pratt, you got Landon Roberts, a lot of veterans at linebacker, and also Devin White. Devin White hasn't done much since being with the Buccaneers. He was great when he was with the Buccaneers when he was a first-round pick. Didn't do much with the Eagles. Boom. Now he's available. Still has the athletic ability, but that could be a steal. I mean, he's got experience. I still think it's an upgrade over somebody like Devon Diablo last year. Personally, I could be completely wrong. And obviously, the main story is about offense. And the main story so far in training camp, and I think this is what's going to dominate all of training camp. You even saw it in the Raiders video that they did previewing training camp. The behind the shield, really well edited. I think they got better editors than they have before. But what was the whole second half of this thing about? It was all about the receivers. It was about Jack Besh, his backstory, him being at a TCU second round pick, the tragedy with his brother in the New Orleans disaster that happened, I believe it was mass shooting. Thornton, a super athletic freak. Everybody's been talking about Thornton online, all the writers, right? I mean, how could you not? 6'4", fast, stood out at minicamp, that guy could really find a great role. So they're talking about Thornton, they were talking about Besh, and they were even talking about Tommy Mellott. Mellott or Mellott. I don't know which way you pronounce it. By the way, I got something in my eye right here. I was disappointed that this guy, now he's a wide receiver. I was disappointed that they had him transition to wide receiver so soon. He's a quarterback originally. And I really like the idea of this guy playing quarterback as a backup for the Raiders. I was hoping that they would have him be a depth piece there because he runs a 4.440. This dude could be Vanilla Vic. I mean, a real Vanilla Vic, not Daniel Jones Vanilla Vic, but this guy could really be that whole thing. And I was even thinking maybe a Taysom Hill type of thing. Gadget player. I don't think obviously he's a rookie. He's a little smaller right now. I don't think he'd be able to do what Taysom Hill does in terms of straight up playing running back, straight up playing fullback and tight end. So maybe that's why they transitioned him to wide receiver, but very interesting guy. If you want to do a trick play where a wide receiver pass comes up on a sweep and then he's going to throw it, what better guy to have throw the football as a wide receiver than Tommy Mellott? What better guy? Just played quarterback for a full season in Montana at Montana State. So I think that's I just think that's a really interesting character to have in training camp. I think he's going to be a very interesting player for the Raiders this year. I think he's going to be very interesting in preseason to watch. And I'm really excited to see, even during the regular season, if Chip Kelly's going to have a package of plays where this guy out of Montana State, even though he's wide receiver, plays quarterback sometimes, runs the read option, or like I was saying, a wide receiver pass. So I found it interesting that on the Raiders video, it was all about those 3 rookie wide receivers. And I feel like that's the make or break for the Raiders this year and their offense. Will these 3 rookie wide receivers, will any of them pan out to be a decent starter? And that's good. I think that's going to make or break the offense. Personally, we all know they got Jacoby Myers. We all know Brock Bowers is going to be double, triple teamed, and they got Jacoby Myers. He's going to be covered. Who's going to be that other guy? Trey Tucker is still on the team. Hasn't really started a full season. Had some good games last year. I thought he did well against the Cleveland Browns. Trey Tucker with that reverse, and had some nice splashes when it came to some deep throws in preseason, but really nothing too big during the regular season, right? So I don't know. That could be interesting. There. One more thing on Jamal Adams real quick, though. I wanted to bring this up. Just what they said about him when he signed with the Titans last year. I just wanted to see what were they saying about this guy just last year. Yeah, RIP to Ozzy Osbourne. I saw that. That was pretty crazy. So when he signed with the Titans last year, he was 28, reuniting with a defensive coordinator who was on the Seahawks. Or no, the Jets. Defensive back coach when he was at his Pro Bowl seasons with the Jets in 2018, 2019. Released by the Seahawks. Not under Pete Carroll, though. Not released under Pete Carroll. Interesting to note. So he was released under Mike McDonald by the Seahawks last year, but had 48 tackles in 2023 in just 9 starts, was limited due to concussion, 21 sacks over his career, 4 interceptions with the Jets. After recording 9.5 sacks in his first season with Seattle, Adams sustained a season-ending injury in Week 12 of 2021 and only played in 10 games the past 2 years. Now, that's huge for me. So, dude, if Pete Carroll pushed for this trade, then this is a guy where he kind of feels robbed that he never got to see it happen. He never got to see what this guy could do. Pretty much played 1 season in 12 weeks. There's 17 games nowadays. So what? He played 29 games. Played 29 games. And then only 10 after that. So there's probably a lot of what ifs in Pete Carroll's heart when it comes to that. Yeah, R.I.P. Ozzy Osbourne, man. Always loved the voice. Always loved seeing him in reality TV shows. But he partied hard, right? I mean, am I wrong about that? He seemed like he partied hard. I don't, you know, just to say, like, I wasn't surprised when I heard the news about Ozzy. I remember at the end of the day, RIP. So giving Jamal Adams a shot in Las Vegas. Let's see what else. I wanted to see what Pete Carroll had to say. This was about the expectations for the season. I think it's this part. It might be a little bit later on. I wanted to comment on this.
One, setting the culture.
It's
I think it was a little later on.
And how to a whole lot of a tremendous job as they learn our stuff, equipped to do that.
But
where you're at, I think we've shown
There's
us
one part.
You know, where they are, and to this, you know,
we got more real.
It's crucial for us. We have to make sure that the messaging is clear. It's him to do because everybody's, you know, mindful and facilitator and a bunch of games.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Found it.
I think we're underway. So,
all right. So, by the way, yes, I am live. The NFL season is back, baby. And by the way, man, you guys know I run this operation with not much tech support. So, in all of my videos, and I've gotten some comments recently. Hey, man, like you were way quieter than the clips. You're way louder than the clips or something. Please give me as much feedback as possible. Please. And you know what? If you're trolling, I will be able to tell. And I don't even know why I brought that up, but I now realize that I'm inviting trolling where people are going to tell me the camera was off the whole video, you know, even though that's not the case at all. But please give feedback on all the tech, anything you thought was too loud, too quiet, let me know. It's always a great help. Now, I found this clip very interesting, mainly because this is basically what everybody wants to know. Is it going to be a rebuild year, or do you have low expectations? Do you have high expectations? He found a way to squeeze out of this question, but I still, at the end of the day, like his answer, and I think it should make you a little optimistic as Raiders fans.
And younger as well, the young guys too. I think we're underway. So, in big fashion. So I'm excited about it.
Pete, you talked a lot about having a sense of urgency when it comes to competing right away, just as a team here. What do you think would constitute success for you guys this season?
Oh, we got to win a ton. We're going to win a bunch of games. There ain't nothing. I can't even imagine anything. I've been winning 10 games a year for 20 years or something, you know. I mean, what are my expectations? We're going to win a bunch. And I don't care, you know, who hears that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. It ain't about what anybody hears. It's about what we do. And so that's why our expectations are really high. The standards need to be so that the expectations can be met. We'll see what happens, you know. I wish I could guarantee it to you, but I can't even think of what else it could be other than being really successful.
I think the day you arrived, you were already getting a little tired of the age questions, right? Being the oldest coach in the NFL.
I just made it sound like that, but go ahead.
But, you know,
Yeah, so look, that's pretty positive to hear. Basically saying he can't see any other way than having high expectations. At one point, too, he also said he believed the secondary, and this was earlier on in the press conference, he said he also believes the secondary is the most talented athletic that he's ever coached. And the guy doesn't have to say that. You know, you could find some roundabout ways to just say, like, this group's really good, one of the best. But he did basically say that, you know, he's basically saying it's the most athletic, which you got to take that a little seriously if someone's saying that. And then on top of that, you're adding Jamal Adams here. Just saw a funny viral clip of Mike Vrabel with the Patriots. I want to see what this is all about real quick. It's supposed to be funny.
How'd they do? How do you feel about how the guys came back?
I mean, whether you were in a coma when I answered Tom's question or typing on your phone or tweeting, I don't know, but I spent 5 minutes answering that question. And I can go back through it, but I'd rather not.
So this is important to pay attention to. Raiders opponent week 1, the Patriots, and Mike Vrabel with offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels here. But yeah, that is so hilarious there. These reporters are getting a little sidetracked on their phones and not paying too much attention. So I could see why Vrabel gets a little frustrated there. Let's see what else is shaking here. We're looking around. Jamal Adams signed to the Raiders. We don't know the scope and length of the deal, but now the Raiders have just done another signing. We talked about JT Woods a little bit. Now we have the Raiders signing a guard, Antonio Mafi. Played 5 games for the Patriots in 2023, but struggled the following camp and was released. He spent most of the last season on the Colts practice squad and appeared in just 3 games. So big time depth piece with Mafi being signed by the Raiders. Wanted to take a look at Jamal Adams more in depth over the past few years, though. 2024, not good grades here, but let's take a look at this guy's overall accomplishments here. Whew. 2016, first team All-American, first team All-Pro for PFF, AP first team All-Pro 2019, top 101 players 2018-19, Pro Bowl in 2020, second team All-Pro in 20. So it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen the big accomplishments. Not a big time coverage guy. Only a few picks throughout his career. But taking a look, and let's get this a little bigger. Taking a look at these numbers over the past few years. Let's make this a lot bigger. Great grading, but 2020 we've seen it drop off. These are the snaps. You could see 800, 700 snaps over. 2021 was the last time he played 800 snaps. 2023, though, still a few games, still a decent amount of games to pick up 500 snaps, but that's still a lot lower than what he's done previously. Only 4 interceptions, 20 pass deflections. You can see that right here. I'm curious about alignment snap count. So this thing right here. Where was he playing majority of the time? Box safety 2,000, free safety 1,400 snaps, and the slot 900. So vast majority of the time, this guy has been in the box. Couple times at free safety or at safety a little deep. But I think he's going to have a specific role with the Raiders. I believe he did break a Renfro's rib. Was that him in 2019? We talked about that matchup a little bit earlier when the Jets beat the He is 29. And as I am now, as a man who is in my 30s now, let's stop calling people old when they're 29. We need to quit calling people and look, YouTube allows me to see the analytics on my channel, right? And I know that most of you are a lot older than 29. I'll just say that. I know the vast majority of you guys are older than 29. A pretty good percent. So let's not call this guy old, man. And nowadays, with sports science, I think the dudes are they're able to last longer now, right? I mean, look at Brady played till he was 45, right? So why can't, yeah. All right, so that was a pretty cool little live update. I'm trying to see if we got anything else shaking right now. I believe we have a clip from his NFL Top 100. Positive things people used to say about Jamal Adams.
Hands on for a touchdown.
He's almost the epitome of, an old school football player.
I can't play too much of that because I don't want to get in too much trouble. But there you have it. Raiders signing. So three signings all total today for the Raiders. And I guess they're actually going to practice tomorrow, so they're just having meetings right now. I think Pete Carroll in the press conference said they had a meeting at 1:00, but nothing too big. Nothing too big outside of that. Not actual practice is happening yet. Some things happening around the NFL. You have Micah Parsons asked about Jerry Jones' discouraging comments when it comes to contract negotiations.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how long things take, you know. That's it.
Are you discouraged by the fact that it's taken this long?
Honestly, yeah. When you go around the league and you see these other teams taking care of their best guys, I see TJ got taken care of. Max got taken care of. Miles got taken care of. And he got 2 years.
Oh, he's saying Max got taken care of. So Micah Parsons is watching the Max Crosby contract thinking, where's my bag at? Look, if the Cowboys need to trade this guy, I know the Raiders have Malcolm Kuntz. I know they have Tyree Wilson. But if the Cowboys need to imagine, like, we have the cap space. We have the money. And you look, Malcolm Kuntz is on a 1-year deal. I think the Raiders, if they really want to shoot for the stars, why not? Why not send a first and a second for Micah Parsons? I mean, I would do it. That instantly makes this team have a higher floor, higher ceiling by like 2 games. Instantly. But this guy did have some injuries last year.
Left on his deal, so it's hard to, you see a lot of people around the league getting taken care of. You just, wish you had something like, that same type of energy,
It's hard to not take it personally.
I wouldn't say it's hard not to take it personally.
No state taxes in Vegas. No, Micah Parsons, there's no state taxes in Vegas.
And you know how
Dude, I just want the Raiders. I just want to play Madden this year and the Raiders to look insane. I mean, it hasn't been a while. I watch these other teams when you're playing Madden with like the Bills or the Eagles. Everybody's freaking loaded. The Chiefs, obviously. Please.
chain of events of something consistently happening over the course of years when you kind of see it before through other players and things. So you don't take you don't take it personally when you're like, all right, it's not like I'm getting treated differently than anyone else, So.
All right, so he's heated. We'll see what happens there. Justin Herbert working with the second round pick wide receiver Trey Harris. Big competition for the Raiders. Second game of the season is going to be against the Chargers. And they got Ladd McConkey, great wide receiver for Los Angeles there, or San Diego. But they really need to find that other guy. They really need to find somebody else because Quentin Johnson is a disappointment. Mike Williams retired, so Chargers really needed to upgrade wide receiver, and I was surprised they didn't do something like trade for DK Metcalf. I thought they were the team to do that. Instead, the Steelers got him. See what else is shaking with Pete Carroll here. It's trending a little bit. Jamal Adams, obviously. Pete Carroll's gear. Guys, rate Pete Carroll's gear. Is this some good? Are these some good sneaks? So, with Antonio Pierce, we bought Air Force Ones. To rep it with Antonio Pierce. Are we buying these Nikes, these white Nikes with silver stripe? So this is what we're doing this year. We're throwing away our Air Force Ones. We're donating the Air Force Ones to Goodwill. Sorry, Antonio Pierce. And now we are going to buy the dad Nikes. We are buying the dad Nikes with Pete Carroll this year for 2025. And hopefully we don't have a new head coach next year where we need to buy a new pair of fucking shoes. Hopefully that's not the case, guys, okay? All right. Saying the secondary is the most athletic one he's coached. Most athletic group he's coached. So it's a pretty bold statement. And obviously the Jamal Adams is the biggest news. So appreciate you guys hanging out, man, during this live stream. Been live for about 30 minutes. When there's other breaking news, I'm going to go live. I'm also going to have more videos detailing things that are going down around the NFL and with the Raiders. More deeper dives, but expect more of these lives. Now that the season's going, I want to start having more of these quick lives, especially when there's a big update like this. So appreciate you guys hanging out. My name is Willie, Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.